Real, true education, not fake news. It's the 18th of March in the morning time. It's only 9:30. I'm up and about this while. It's good morning. Now, the thing is that I've already done with the framework. So for the hate speech, I'm now moving on to the bill properly, which has gone through and passed in the Dáil. Now, obviously, the government after the referendum defeats may think twice about it, but I doubt if they will. One of the things that came clear that I didn't know about after my videos to ask for a vote no was that the Attorney General had given legal advice to the Minister, Roderick O'Gorman, about it, and Roderick O'Gorman disguised it and disclosed it. Wouldn't disclose it. He kept it secret, and Michael McDowell brought this up. So here was the Minister responsible for pushing this referendum, refusing to tell the people what the top lawyer in the state had recommended. We couldn't know it. So he wanted us to go into vote not knowing what was in it. That shows you the danger of the present government. I don't know will it ever have a more dangerous government, but certainly it never had anything as dangerous as this. So now one of the things in the hate speech bill is the interpretation. So that framework decision now is dealt with. I have that. That's number one. That refers to that racism and xenophobia. So they're invoking that so that they can bring people to serve sentences from abroad, and we can send people out to serve sentences in other countries for this hate speech. Okay. Now, hatred means hatred against a person or a group of persons in the state or elsewhere on account of their protected characteristics or any one of those characteristics. And a protected person shall be construed as in accordance with Section 1. Now, we will look at existing law again, because it's very important when you're going to change the law that you know the existing laws, so we know that. But this is what hatred means. Now, the problem I have with it, what have certain feelings towards the general body politic of Germany. I think it's a hugely dangerous country. I have good reason to fear Germans and to fear them. Now, not all Germans, some Germans have sent money to me to help fight the windmills in Ireland, so we have to make that clear. But still, as a group, they are a highly dangerous nation in my view, and they can take me up to court if they want to. Now, the other thing then is, what about the Russians? We're now being told that we have to hate the Russians. Isn't that in Bob Dylan's song, I learned to hate the Russians all the days of my life? Why should, there was no talk of hating the Russians 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and the EU is still trading with Russia. And Putin won an overwhelming victory after he got rid of all the potential opposition. But still. So, I mean, this thing about having to have been told who you can think good of and who you can think bad of, it's not an offence so far until you utter these words. So I think this is a gross affront to my freedom to speak my mind. I mean, what about the Green Party? What about the Luthramon Eamon Ryan? What about Roderick O'Gorman? Huh? How are we supposed to love them? I don't. I'm going to try and get some kind of accountability brought to them. So I don't think the concept's right at all, but my job is here to inform you. Now, a word or expression that is used in this act and is also used in the framework decision has, unless the context otherwise requires, the same meaning as it has in the framework decision. So I've mentioned that. So we have that how it's clear now, and we go on now to look at the bill itself. Now, the meaning of protected characteristics. As I said recently, they added Mauritius people. Mauritius, one of the great holiday resorts, that I can be jailed for giving out about a Mauritian fella living here. Now, in this group, other than in Section 8, protected characteristics in relation to a person or group of persons means that any one of the following, namely, right, race. So that would include Irish race. So if I don't like the people who vote for Eamon Ryan, I can be guilty. So there is an effort to shut down complaint about them. Also, if I don't like the Germans, I can be found guilty as well. Okay, race. Colour. Well, I presume that's skin colour. Yeah. All right, make what you like of it. National. What about if white? What about if they're whites? What about Ivana Banshki says that people like me are pasty-faced Irish white men? Is that not hate speech? Engendering hatred against our people. Me, for example, and you if you're a white man. She doesn't mind so much white women, provided they're woke. Yeah? Religion. Well, I think every religion must fight its corner and just justify what it does. What about the religious persecution of gay people abroad? Some places they're hanged. Hmm? That's not an area I believe our law should go into. National or ethnic origin. Hmm. Actually, what about if they're Irish then? How does it go if they're Irish? What if I hate an Irish person for voting for that idiot Micheál Martin and Simon Coveney? What if people go into vote in the next election for Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, knowing full well what they're doing and what they've done and the horror they've wreaked on the environment and the refusal to abide by the law on the environment? Why? Surely I'm entitled to make criticism of Irish people. Huh? Can a German living in Germany during the 1930s not criticise Hitler? It's an attempt to try to reach in. If we could get a right-wing government, we might be able to get after them and use the same thing. Now, dissent. And what does dissent mean? Dissent. Huh? Dissent. Who their ancestor was, I suppose. So, if you had a person, yeah, well, if you had a Nazi's grandson living here, he mightn't endorse what the Nazis did. That's been kind of saying the breeding was no good. It's extended itself into all the ways we had of expressing ourselves, and that these things help to keep our society intact, because you couldn't get a big head because somebody gave it to tell you off about it. Gender. Well, then you see, this is not male female. Now you can be gender anywhere. Gender this and gender that. That was tried at the referendum and roundly rejected. Sex characteristics. That'd be gay, bisexual, lesbian, all that. Long ago they were discriminated against a bit. I don't think a person who's a bit like that should be, but I think I have to have a healthy criticism about all sexual characteristics. It's getting to the stage now where a normal couple getting married could be attacked for not being gender neutral. Oh, you're heterosexual. Oh, to hell with you! Like, again, well, maybe there is something there. Sexual orientation. Well, we already been through that, but they're coming on with it again. They're infatuated with this sex. There's 3 green TDs out of 12 ministers in Ireland, and there's 158 members of Parliament, and 3 of them are ministers. See? So, and there's one of them, we've the Taoiseach is gay, and Roderick O'Gorman is gay. That's the ones we know about. So, sex characteristics and sexual orientation. Well, I wouldn't like to see a gay man or a gay woman being pilloried at work. Oh, you're an old queer or that type of thing. I would not have a problem with that, but we already have the legislation to deal with that. And disability. Well, I remember long ago, people would criticise people for being a cripple. He's only an old cripple, because your legs was gone, you know. I never liked that myself. He's a crippling beggar. So the idea was, number one, he had no money, and number two, he had a disability walking, or a physical disability, and I think there was a bit of that, all right. Right, we leave that alone. I have no problem with that being in there, but this is a group. They're making a group out of these, a special group. Why do we need to make a special group? Surely to be abusive towards a person with a disability should be the same for everybody. Surely the law on abusing people on sexuality, and indeed their race and their colour and their nationality and all that, should apply across the board. Now, so read the heading of that again. In this act, other than in section 8, protected characteristics in relation to a person or group of persons means any one of the following. So their characteristics, I maintain that's for the ordinary law. The law should apply across the board. There's no need to single out individual people. So now we are in this act in relation to protected characteristics. Reference to religion includes references to the absence of a religious conviction or belief. What is it to do with them? What religion people have? And if I want to criticise someone from having a certain religion, I should be able to do it. In London now, they're walloping the Jews out protesting. Jewish religion. There's nobody be taken up for that because, oh, Palestine's woke. Oh, it's woke. Yet, if you went out and criticise a Muslim, you're hammered. We shouldn't be forcing our will on religion on anybody. It was forced on us long enough on the other way, and now it should be people make up their own minds, right? Now, reference to descent include references to persons or group of persons who descend from persons who would be identified by certain characteristics such as race or colour, but not necessarily all of those characteristics. So this is their descent. Well, I suppose if you had a grandson there of a rascal, does he follow us? He might say, I don't follow my father at all, or my grandfather in that case. I don't think. Well, it probably, but I think it's a matter for general public to decide. It's up to that person to decide. I'm not responsible for what my ancestors did any more than you are. They should be able to fight their own corner. It shouldn't be brought into the criminal law at all. Reference to national or ethnic origin include references to members of the travelling community within the meaning of Section 2.1 of the Equal Status Act. Was there any hope of getting the travellers in Ireland sorted out and making them a bit more the society better? It's finished now with all the refugees. So we can't do anything. Lucky enough, before the refugee craze started, there were a number of halts and places built for travellers, and that gave them a good old leg up. And but sure, that's out now, so they can't build anything. So again, all extra, all virtue signalling, the same as the referenda. Look at us. Oh, look at us ringing up. Oh, hello, Ursula. Hello, Ursula. This is Roderick O'Gorman. Yeah, we got the thing passed. We got the referendum passed. And Mary McAleese and them all, they got their answer. I'm telling you, and I helped to do it. Now, there's gender means the gender of a person or the gender which a person expresses. So if I tell you I'm a woman, you go to jail if you say anything. What a ridiculous situation. As the person's preferred gender. So now you can pick your gender. And you can say a man going into jail, I'm a woman, and they put you in with a woman, and several women, inmates in the prison, have been impregnated by fellas who claim that they're women. Or a gender other than those of male or female. So now we have a gender other than male or female. So right. So now you can be a male, a female, or anything else, and that's what they wanted in the referendum. Durable relationship, carers. This is what they were wearing around to. See, sexual orientation will have the same meaning as the Equal Status Act. Well, I know places where I go to shops and things, and I know some of the men. I don't know many of the women are gay. And they're clean and tidy, and they serve the products to me, and I pay them and bid them the time of day. And I think it's already in the law there. I don't think this should be done. How far do you extend? Why don't they say farmers? Oh, well, what about farmers with cows? There's no word of farmers with cows. Huh? I should be in there. Can't abuse me. Huh? And if I put out a hat to you, you have to give me money in. Put money into it. That should be in it too. Right? Reference to sex characteristics shall be construed as reference to the physical and biological features of a person relating to sex. So, reference to characteristics shall be construed as reference to the physical or biological features of a person relating to sex. So, what the hell does that mean? Now, just let me read that again. Sexually orientated has the same meaning as it has in the Equal Status Act, right? Gender means the gender of a person or the gender which a person expresses as the person's preferred gender, or which the person identifies and includes transgender and gender other than those of male and female. So now you have transgender, you have male, you have female, and you have otherwise. So you have a whole host of genders, whatever they pick. So the policeman or woman who arrests a guy and goes to put his name down in the book as Tom Francis McGorty, he can say, no, I'm Josepha Francis, spelt with an I, and you get that right. And then if the wrong name is put on the summons and he goes to court, he says, I'm actually transgender, the judge has to let him off. That's what this method has. These fellas in the government showed they didn't understand the referendum or the consequences of it, and the people knew better than them. So just look at that again. Gender means the gender of a person, or the gender which a person expresses as the person's preferred gender, or with which a person identifies, and includes transgender and a gender other than those of male and female. And then you have reference to sex characteristics shall be construed as references to the physical and biological features of a person relating to sex. So if their biological and physical features are male, if they have the marital, what do you call it, tackle of a man, you don't need that described, I'm sure. This would say then they're a man. But that conflicts with D. This is F. So above gender can be male, female, transgender, or any gender they identify with or feel like or what they want. But then in F, it says sexual reference to sexual characteristics shall be construed as reference to the physical or biological features of the person relating to sex. So that it makes a direct lie out of D. So there you have a complete conflict. So what I could possibly do, I don't like doing it, but pick some fella that's openly gay and give him a right, dress him down, and let him go to the guards and get prosecuted and say, Judge, how do I know which is which? What one is it you? They'll convict you in the district court, then you take your judicial review as a case stated to the High Court, and you cause them trouble that way. The only thing is, it's up to 15 days going to Dublin to do your own thing in a court, and I don't want to do it to have something really good to hammer them with. Now, so disability has the same meaning. Well, we're not into the disability thing. Repeal. The Prohibition of Incitement to Hatred Act is repealed. So they're taking out the 1989 Incitement to Hatred Act, which has stood the test of time, to replace it with this gobbledygook, right? It could actually weaken the protection for the people that want to, some of the people they want to protect. Expenses. That's about the expenses. They can spend state money on it. Interpretation. Well, then there's a whole lot of things. A public place, reasonable and genuine contribution is described, and for the purposes of this part, a person shall be regarded as communicating material to the public, or this section of the public. If so, what about communicating stuff? What about posting stuff on Facebook? I come along and say, I hate the Germans. Oh, they're who's all together, and I hate the people at Dublin 4, Dublin Bay South, because they voted for Ryan. I hate him too. So now, why would that be? How would that come up? For the purpose of this, a person shall be regarded as communicating if they displays, publishes, distributes, or disseminates the material, shows or plays the material. Now, shows or plays the material. What does that mean? Shows it, I suppose it means just showing it, like, or plays it on a record. Yeah, that would be okay. Makes the material available in any other way, including through the use of an information system. So this is how you have to do. So you have to, this video would be classic example. Displays or publishes or distributes, disseminates the material, shows or plays the material. So if you play this, then to show somebody else in a pub, supposing they show this in a pub, they're displaying it, makes the material available in any other way, including the use of an information system, to the public or a section of the public. For the purpose of this part, a person's behaviour shall include behaviour of any kind, and in particular things that a person says or otherwise communicates, as well as things that the person does, or such behaviour may consist of a single act or a course of conduct. See that? See how loose now they have it. For the purposes of this part, a person's behaviour, now they're trying to control your behaviour, shall include behaviour of any kind, and in particular, things that the person says or otherwise communicates, as well as things that the person does, and such behaviour may consist of a single act or a course of conduct. A course of conduct. So then there's section 7, offences of incitement to violence or hatred against a person on account of their protected characteristics. Subject to this section, in section 11, a person shall be guilty of an offence if the person communicates the material to the public or a section of the public, behaves in a public place in a manner that is likely to incite violence or hatred against a person or a group of persons on account of its protected characteristics or anything. So what about protests against migration? They're included as protected characteristic. That's coming. So what if that? What's that? So we're not allowed to go out now and protest. See? So they're horsing in people from Timbuktu into Ireland, and we, the people of Ireland, goes to jail for complaining. Right? A person does so with the and now they have to also do this communication with the intent to incite violence or hatred. Well, we leave the violence. I suppose there is already an incitement to violence act there and all that, but we leave out the violence, but it does so with the intent to incite hatred against such a person or group of persons on account of those characteristics or any of those characteristics, or being reckless as to whether such violent hatred is thereby incited. So the lad that cut the heads of the two men in Sligo, if he had got off, we say he was acquitted because of something, and there was some doubt in it, or the guards mucked it up, or whatever, he came to live in my community, I dare not open my mouth. I can't say, you are a villain, you killed two people, you are a dirty criminal. That's jail for me straight away. Okay? So that's it. Now, incite hatred, against such a person or a group of persons on account of those characteristics or any of those characteristics, as being reckless as to whether such violence or hatred is incited. So I made a video on Aisling Murphy about the unlimited immigration, uncontrolled immigration, and that there would probably be incitement to hatred. So you see how far they are going with this. In any proceedings for defence under this section, it shall be a defence to prove that the material concerned, or insofar as is appropriate, the behaviour concerned, consisted solely of a reasonable and genuine contribution to literary, artistic, political. So what does that mean? So if you're a political campaigner, what does that mean? You see, you can't know the law. You have to go through the courts to get a judge to decide the law. See the thing? So political, scientific, religion, or academic discourse. So if a Muslim man comes out and he incites hatred against Jews, he can use that to get out political. But if you're not a politician, what does political mean? So there you are, you have this uncertainty. It's not good law. A statement that is subject to the defence of absolute privilege, so if it's said in the Dáil or in a court. Material or behaviour, as the case may be, that is necessary for any other lawful purpose, including law enforcement and the investigation and prosecution of offences. Now, so that's it. Maybe I better read that again. This is the defences to it, folks. Right. A reasonable and genuine contribution to literary, artistic, political, scientific, religious, or academic discourse. So what does that mean? I take it have to be a university professor to stand up in front of an audience and give all this about the history of the Nazis and the Jews and the whole damn thing, right? So I'd say that's what it would be. I don't think it would allow an ordinary Joe Soap like me to claim it's a political thing. And it is political. My concern for the migration is political. A statement that is the subject of a defence of absolute privilege, no problem there, well, that's the Dáil and our court. Material or behaviour, as the case may be, that is necessary for any other lawful purpose, including law for. Okay, the main one is the first one. The defences to it, political. So how can you stop people claiming that? But in any event, you see now what's happening. They're trying to protect. And then the offence, and I think I'll quit and come back to it then. On summary conviction for this is 12 months or both, and on conviction on indictment, that means with a jury, it's a term not exceeding 5 years or both. So they're throwing the kitchen sink at us. Jail them for a year or jail them for 5 years. Now this is what our government's doing, and I hereby commit to campaign, if this gets in, to get it challenged in the courts, to advise people who are prosecuted under it, and also to have it repealed. This is bad law. This is more of the woke destruction of Irish society. That's exactly what it is. And if they had gotten their way with the referendum, you could technically prosecute someone for defending a mother. That's what they wanted, and that's what they were hoping to get. And this is only the start of what these creeps will do if they get long enough in power. How we get them out of there is another day's work. Folks, I hope to do another video on this just to tidy it up, but for that's my contribution with a very long video. I might do a summary one comment underneath. Make sure your comments are logical, and give a like to it. I'm sure if you want to subscribe to my channel, but just bear in mind I do have other things like engineering, welding and things like that. That's nothing to do with this, but it's all part of our quality of life. Folks, bye bye. We'll see you back soon. Thank you.